I'm getting into the draft here as the jungle bands come in thick and fast. And INTZ with Revolta having been kind of that main force that it's not even you live and die by Revolta. He's just been so consistent. But the team around him hasn't been able to put it together kind of all at the same time as consistently. But I do think, as marginal as it might be, it is starting to look up for INTZ. But I mean, gosh, what a brutal week for things to start going right. They've got Red today and then Flamengo tomorrow. You could play 2 phenomenal games and be 4-8 by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah, I think there's like this third time we're seeing a team run into both Red and Flamenco in the same week, and that to me is absolutely brutal. What do you do when that happens here? To be fair though, Vorax did beat Red, lose to Flamenco, so it is possible maybe INTZ can replicate that. I love the Nidalee first pick actually from them here with the way the jungle bans have gone down. Revolta has done well on the Nidalee, and I feel like for INTZ to win, they're gonna have to rely on trying to get that tempo early.
Still no Seraphine ban, so I'm waiting for Seraphine to show up in CBLOL. But still, I think that is now 10 straight games, or maybe 11 by now. My math isn't great, but that Pantheon has not seen pick or ban from being permabanned, 100% pick and ban up until then. So the prophetic memes of random minion casts are continuing to prophesy and speak from above. Jungle bans and top lane bans, that is just kind of how it's gone. As far as these bans are concerned, Camille and Renekton still really, really strong. Gordrinker really didn't do anything to Renekton's viability, just more to his late game carry potential. And I don't know, I mean, the only top laner I can play with any shred of confidence is Renekton. And it's good to see that Renekton has just kind of been pushed back into his little spots. I'm glad he didn't get jumped out of the meta completely, but he was just a little too strong early on here. Kaisa taken R1, just blinded. And Aegis going to be on Graves, taking that away from Revolta. So now no Skarner, no Lilia, no Graves, no Olaf, no Udyr for Revolta.
Yeah, lots of things taken on. And the ADC, the meta as it stands right now has certain really obvious things. Like ADCs, the tier 1 is Kaisa. In other regions, maybe a Senna as well. But the moment you see the Kaisa locked in, Xayah seems to be the go-to response everywhere, CBLOL included. So seeing the Xayah pick up from Macau immediately makes sense. The Leona, though, is a bit of a Gyeong special, is the champion that he's been playing. That and Rel, the most of, I feel. But I find it odd that you pick the Leona when the Rel's up, because Leona is technically countered by Rel. And considering that Gyeong's played 3 games on Rel, why don't you just go with the Rel again? It is also a defensive pick, which works with that Xayah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is very defensive, but does have that good engaged potential. Whereas, yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of Leona just like kind of does everything she does maybe a little bit better. It is a little bit harder to execute because Leona is kind of more point and click, but I think your point is very well taken here. And with no top lane still taken by both, so it's bot lanes and junglers. This is kind of just this is how it goes lately in drafts. That's how it went in Loud versus Furia. Hello, Brain. So now it's going to be these solo laners being taken away here. Irelia, Aatrox, Yone. But Syndra and Orianna still picked up. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that just kind of handshake mid lane matchup going here. But yeah, I don't know. Let's see here.
And I feel like for the side of Red here, they might just leave the last pick to Guigo for their top lane. They do have to pick one of their solo lanes first here. And if we look at the side of Red, it's really been the story of Titan on this ADC hard carrying the team, really popping off in team fights, and Guigod in that top lane there. We talk a lot about the Korean top laners, but Guigo's name really is right up there with them here in terms of what he can do. It doesn't always look quite as flashy, but if you look at his stats here, he's quietly up there in terms of DPM. There we go, mid lane for Avenger.
Avenger going to be taking Zoe with Syndra banned away. Excuse me, sorry, I had to sneeze. That's why I muted myself there. The Jinx hover here. Don't think it's going to be taken. I'd be shocked and appalled. But no, I mean, we're looking at solo laners here. Yuumi mid, no matter how much you play it on ARAM, isn't what you're supposed to do here. Now Lucian would be interesting. Okay, this is gonna be Lucian into the Zoe here, and if you can get right on top of her and use your E to dodge the skill shots, that can be a lane that can be pretty oppressive. But Titan can just kind of poke away and center the tower here. How do you read this this mid lane matchup here?
I know that our producer Dia is screaming a little bit with that Zoe pickup. He absolutely loathes the Zoe here, but it's such a safe pickup. Makes sense for red. I like the Lucian counter pick because you're mobile enough to try and dodge the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and really it just comes down to two skills. If you can dodge the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's 70% of your lane right there. The other 30% is dodging the Paddle Stars. So I like the pickup. It is kind of old school because both these picks are pretty old school. What intrigues me way more is the Rumble here for Bowl. It is the first time we've seen Bowl play it, but as Rooted was kind of talking about in the meme show, Rumble, or I believe it was maybe you who mentioned it before, but Rumble coming back into the top meta a little bit does do a lot, and I've always liked it when it's paired with that Leona here.
Yeah, no, it makes it really, really easy to land a lot of damage. And I think it just opens up more, just AP bruisers and top laners. I don't know, Rumble's a bruiser. I mean, you know what I mean, though. Just like,
Yeah.
yeah, beefier AP top lane champions, be it Shyvana, be it Silas, who can go in a couple of solo lanes. It just opens up, AD mid laners and allows more flexibility just compositionally. So you've got good mixed damage here for INTZ. I like the Rumble Leona pair. I'm glad you pointed that out. And some good engage here as well from Red. Now, I don't know. To me, and maybe this is just me, but I'm struggling to see kind of compositional cohesion here from Red, although they do have some good poke and some good kind of objective control, be it with the smoke screen. I think that is just an underratedly strong ability that Graves provides. Obviously, he's known for just deleting targets and dealing insane amounts of damage, but the smoke screen itself provides a lot of value, especially around objectives.
Yeah, both teams sort of conservative compositions. They do a little bit of everything here. Just kind of strong power picks coming through for the side of red here. The Scion, it's neutralizing lane in the top lane. It gives you the engage, the disengage. Graves just really strong power farmer. We saw the strength of double AD with that Lucian Kaisa last game here. Graves kind of fulfills a similar function from the jungle, allowing you to have that sort of double AD or double sustained damage composition. Zoe in the mid lane, great for picks and Rel to peel back. So a little bit of everything here. If red sees an opportunity, they can take advantage of it. And because it's red, I like the composition because they are able to take advantage. They are able to respond and do a little bit of everything here. INTZ, on the other hand, their composition a little bit clearer here. They are going to be looking for those team fights with the Rumble, with the Leona. They're not great at pretty much anything else. So that is going to be their goal here. I'm more interested in how Revolt is going to play this because normally when you see that Nidalee picked, you want lanes that work well with it, which provide point and click CC. You don't have that with Lucian or Rumble. 80% favorite for INTZ. I don't know what's going on with red support, man. These guys are the second in the league. Why is nobody voting for them?
Yeah, it's just fan support, I guess. INTZ is a name that clearly still has a ton of weight. They were the 2020 World Representatives, like you said. But yeah, and I confess I missed the exact wording of that poll, which is who do you want to win, maybe versus who do you think is going to win,
Yeah.
which that might change things. Because if
True.
it's the latter, I'm sorry, fans, you're trolling. Red are the hard favorites in this game. 8-2. Their only two losses to an indomitable Flamengo squad and a Vorax team that is looking really, really strong as well. Again, they've had their COVID delays, so they will be playing both their games on Thursday against Loud and Renska, which, I mean, that game on Thursday is going to be big. Vorax v Loud for that third place spot, pretty much. Taking a look here at any runes or, mastery choices that don't see anything too spicy here. Comet Rumble up top, Conquer on the Nidalee, Phase Rush Graves, and the Airy here on Avenger. I confess, I usually see kind of maybe Unsealed Spellbook or I don't know, Electrocute maybe even on Zoe, but this is new for me.
Yeah, or usually if you are going to that sorcery tree, maybe the comet there. But yeah, Airy a little bit surprising. The heal as well, considering you're not running the Unsealed Spellbook, but bot lane, we're already getting some action here. Mikau already getting slammed. We talked about Titan being a monster. He is the highest DPM AD carry here. Also, one of the highest kills, I believe, by the number 1 and number 2. So he's already establishing dominance right away here. Forget any jungle interference. Red intends to run this bot lane.
Yeah, Red with a really strong level 1 here on that rel. And then they just take advantage of it immediately. Young and Macau just clumped up a little bit too close, and now with the attract and repel can really wreak some havoc. Yeah, and so there's only a certain amount that you can do if you're pressing the lane this hard. You're not going to be able to go for dives and really abuse that now. In a couple levels, maybe Aegis tries to make something happen as far as the dive is concerned. Guigo can have his TP bot lane dives, can be really, really oppressive, especially if you want to get Titan as ahead as you want him to. So that's something I'm going to be looking for. But your point absolutely is well taken that this game and most games for Red are played through the bottom lane, as we see here. Yeah, it was just it's a lot of just utility and straight into that sorcery tree secondary anyway for Zoe and the attack speed as well.
Wow. Okay, those are really lane-focused runes here with the Scorch, with the pots and the biscuits here. Avenger, I guess they knew that they'd be in for a pretty rough lane against the Lucian here, so really specking into that. And I like it because you need mid lane control here against the Lucian. That's what you pick a Lucian for, and honestly, the trade seems to be working out pretty decently so far.
Yeah, no, he's not playing scared. That's for dang sure. And both of them going corrupting pot and biscuits, so really focusing in onto that lane presence. Yeah, just take it. Yeah, just it's that lane sustain. Jojo and Titan here, both hitting level 3. Attract and Repel is going to land on 2, mainly on Young. But Titan able to kite away from him. Still no summoners burned on either side. There goes the flash and the Q. Another flash in with a Zenith Blade to follow it up. Macau now looking for one more auto onto Jojo. Might do it. That's first blood, but traded right back. It's ADC against ADC. Macau trying to run down Titan. Titan trying to try to kite away Halo Blades. Titan trying to get
it's flash.
One more auto. He's able to pick up the kill. He almost threw it away there, but a really well kited fight there from Titan. Oh no.
Oh, okay. The ward actually doesn't see it. So the way the bushes are in the bot lane with the Elcos right now, there is actually that sort of turn, the corner there. So if you stand just where you saw Titan back there, that ward that catches the most of the bush won't actually see you. That was incredibly close. I believe Titan dropped down to about 18 health at the lowest point there. That is literally like a quarter of an auto there. It went down to the wire, and Red winning that is huge because Titan is a monster. We do get the replay here. So right away, the supports do what the supports need to do, which is go for the ADCs. That's how the Rel lane works out here. You just try and deny the backup. And that went well. The problem is trying to get out becomes a problem. That Zenith Blade changed everything. If the Zenith Blade didn't get pulled by the flash, Jojo doesn't die here. We probably see both sides backing off. Nobody goes down. But because it did happen, we get to see this. The 1v1 here. Forget MOBAs because we're now in the fighting game platform.
And Titan, I mean, just played that so nicely. I mean, because if he was just playing so well around the feathers behind him, right? Just making sure that he was constantly repositioning. Because if, for whatever reason, Titan, or rather Macau, is able to get a root off and a pullback, he's dead meat.
Oh, yeah. That blade call would have been nasty, but here we go. Are they okay? They can't force a gank here. They just there's not enough damage. It's Aegis. He's a Graves here. There was a Nidalee Spear, maybe a Lee Sin Q, maybe, but Graves can't quite force the gank. And frankly, they don't need him there anymore. I would like to see Aegis try and rotate to the other lanes, maybe try and swing that mid lane, which is incredibly close right now, or try and maybe back up Guigo because Guigo is in a losing lane. It is going to be rough for him on this Scion. It's reflected in the CS, and yes, tanks don't need that much gold. They can operate low econ, but it's Guigo, man. The man can carry on anything.
Yeah, out goes the culling onto Avenger. Yeah, this lane, it's been really, really spicy. I mean, want to talk about like a fighting game lane that has been just throwing blows left and right. This is where you want to go for the action. Hope the observers can treat us to a little bit more of that. Immediately into the Seeker's Arm Guard with the Season 11 rework, that just becomes so much more economical of a buy early on. You can slam that and start to just take it up. Bull, take a blast cone, and found himself right onto on top of a Graves there. Says, "Oh, good to see you." Yep, neither one of us. Nope. Okay, all right, we'll leave.
Yeah, just saying hi. Like a right click to say hi, sort of thing.
Right click to say hi. Yeah, so nothing doing there. That Red able to take that first dragon, as we were mentioning. But as we sort of glossed over, I don't know about mentioned. But otherwise, nothing. It's been a lot of action, but nothing that's really resulted in anything decisive. But it's been fun so far, and sure enough, I mean, it's been all about that bot lane. Titan has both of his team's kills. He's up about 8 CS. He's going to be a monster. And on this Kai'Sa, one of, if not the strongest champion in the game right now, just pound for pound, so much mobility so many ways to reposition herself. Got the cleanse as well. I mean, yeah, another red Canids game, another potential Titan pop off looming here, RMC.
For sure. And that's one of the things. If you're a Rids fan right now, this is perfectly fine. They don't have to make things work. Ooh.
Yeah.
Young. Okay.
Just going to get that returned onto him. And maybe a little trigger happy there. Didn't quite have the backup immediately there, but also knew that Avenger wasn't going to be able to just straight up 1v1 him either.
Yeah, and so Rid is fine with this sort of slower pace here. They don't need to find leads. If they do in lane, great. If they don't, that's not where they excel anyways. Whereas I can see why INTZ kind of pulled the trigger on Gyeong there, because you have to. You pick the Nidalee for the early game pressure, and Revolta has done nothing in the early game so far. Trying to get the Herald here, but it's going to be contested.
Aegis going over the wall. Macau picking up a kill. Down goes the smoke screen, and it's taken by Revolta indeed. Able to walk away from it. So they trade a kill for a Herald. I get the kill and the Herald, excuse me.
Yeah. I mean, that Jojo just popped there. Rel, I've said it before, needs to attack to get some of those tanky stats. And Jojo, I don't think even got a single Q, a single auto off in that fight before just got 100-0. So looked very, very squishy in that. Good pickup from INTZ. They do have the lead right now, and with that Herald, I know that I joke about how bad Heralds are in CBLOL. I wasn't impressed either by Furious Heralds or Loud's Heralds, pardon me, in the last game. So I'm hoping INTZ can utilize this properly to try and find themselves the bigger leads they need to get, because that 1,000 gold lead they have right now doesn't feel safe to me.
No, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. No lanes are behind by any stretch of the imagination. Bull indexing heavily into damage. Guigo saying, yeah, no, Doran Shield, Negatron Cloak, thank you very much. You are not going to boss this lane away from me, sir. Just playing it really well. So far, yeah, the lead is not safe by any stretch of the imagination. I do want to see about that Herald. I think you're absolutely right, and that's going to go a long way, I think, into determining who can swing this game open first, because it's been a pretty tight affair here so far.
Yeah. And so far, I'm actually impressed by Guigo. He's kept this top lane amazingly even, considering that there's been no jungle pressure whatsoever from Aegis there. Even Revolta actually hasn't really gotten the top lane, has looked a couple of times so far. And so it's not bad for Guigo to be there. He won't be as impactful in the mid game. I think we need to make that very, very clear. Equalizer is one of the single biggest ultimates in the game for team fights there. The unstoppable charge forward from the Scion is great for an initiate, but it's not going to be quite as impactful necessarily. So Guigo will still have to outperform, I feel, a little bit in the mid game. But the late game, Scion will scale up infinitely on that health, will become tanky. It doesn't look quite as fancy as the Cho'Gath, but it's going to be quite as scary, really.
Yeah, and the hope is that, I mean, with two really good sources of engage and some poke beforehand, that's going to kind of want to be how, but that is going to kind of be how they want to start fights. All my qualifiers eventually got out of my mouth in the right order there. But as we set up for another objective here, we'll see if we get something like that. Here goes the Herald.
Again, slightly sketchy Herald here. We'll get the charge off, so that turret's going to get really low, but at the same time, that's kind of it, and then they get forced into the fight.
Yep, able to flash away and get the Featherstorm down. Guigo just getting munched through auto after auto, and Avenger able to pick up a kill onto Gyeong, who was able to stay completely safe. Guigo, really beefy boy. He just took a face full of damage, and that was enough because he kept him safe from Avenger, safe from Titan. They were able to pick up a kill, and now have Prio onto this Dragon, but Bull is going to get a lot of free XP up there. Guigo going to miss out on a wave or two.
Yeah, you take that if you're Red. That wave or two, we already talked about the fact that Scion it can play fairly low econ, so it's perfectly fine. And what to me was really good was that fight, Red rotated so quickly there. As soon as Herald came down, you saw there were 4 members. Oh, Aegis doesn't know.
Well, Aegis able to get the auto down, the Q as well. Smoke screen down. Avenger now joining the fight. Sleepy Trouble Bubble gonna land, but not before the Zenith Blade connects. Not able to get the stun off onto Avenger. Drops a red smite, and Bull from downtown laying down the equalizer. He was barely on the screen. Was able to get the disengage for his team.
Yeah, you don't need to be there to lay down the red carpet. Didn't quite unfortunately achieve anything, and that will be down. But look at that cooldown there. It's so short for the equalizer. It will be up for the next fight pretty much. It's already 25% off the way through, and that's not even with a bunch of ability haste here coming through for the side of Bull. Should point out that, by the way, it's going to be the Ocean Soul this game. So it's going to be dangerous for INTZ to let through any more dragons here.
Yep. Yep. Super, super strong. All that passive health regen. And I mean, that's going to help. I mean, you thought Guigo was scary. Now that is going to be massive if he gets his hands on an Ocean Soul. Jojo also starting to tick up here on the defensive stats. Yeah, the Avenger picking up a kill there, so the carry options being spread out just a little bit more, and Aegis staying plenty economized here on farm, but Revolta staying even as well. Dragon's not going to go for another 330 into a little bit of a lull state here, as the Herald not going to be up for a little while either.
Yeah, gonna be wall yet, and with no major objectives on the map here, it's gonna be at the lanes. And so far, Gyeong has shown a complete willingness to roam out. They don't care about objectives here. They're just going to look to try and get kills, regardless if there's anything else to find. Mid lane turret is kind of low though, so if you do kill Avenger with the Lucian here, you could shut it down.
Let's see, Young looking for something
Oh,
cheap.
perfect.
Goes immediately in REQ, calling to the mouth. Avenger with a portal jump. Envy able to get out of dodge, but that was a little closer than maybe it should have been. Well played by Avenger, all things considered, but a really nice dive by INTZ.
Yeah, and the solar flare landing dead center as well into Avenger, I think really made that. If you didn't get the stun, if you only got the slow there, Avenger probably gets out very, very mobile. No summoner spellbook. We're not seeing, that Zoe with 3 or 4 different summoners in one fight. So unfortunately, it doesn't pan out. And that is really good. I'm actually super surprised, and that's why I'm kind of distracted here, is that INTZ didn't take that mid lane turret. It's so low. I don't see why you wouldn't have just sat there and done it. They can still do it. The wave is coming in. Avenger is a ways away, and it doesn't look like Aegis is going to try and defend it.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they just didn't have any certain vision or just didn't think. Maybe they thought, okay, well, we barely got out of there. The last thing we want to do is troll this by getting punished. We got our pick. But to your point, and now it looks like a little bit of a wasted opportunity because Avenger right back. They know he doesn't have TP. They know he doesn't have Unsealed Spellbook. So if nothing else, they know that he's going to take a while to get back to lane. So maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity there.
Oh, no.
As the Herald are going to be started up here for Red. Second one, always a topic of contention, second Herald. But again, if you use it well, if it's low risk, if you lose nothing from it, which right now looks like that is the case for Red, and INTZ responding immediately with a siege onto the bottom lane tier 1 turret.
For INTZ, they just simply weren't going to be there. Aegis wasn't in position. And so what they're trying to do right now is race down that turret here. It's going to get really close, but I believe Shelly is going to be the turning point. No, Mikau actually able to take down that turret just barely before. First break going to INTZ. It was close, but they get the lead. Good for them. Can they stop the bleeding? Because second charge from Shelly here, and with double ADCs pushing down, they get inner.
Wow. How about that for Herald usage?
That's good. That I like.
You take those.
Yeah, maybe a meme about Red actually knowing how to use Herald next week.
Yeah. No, so far so good. I mean, that was exactly what you wanted. It was really good to see. Now they've busted down a side lane and put it in a really tough spot here. Yes, you like a longer lane. It's not, for INTZ, it's not the worst thing in the world, but 2 towers down, that's when you start to kind of, okay, the min-maxing goes out the window a little bit. And you've got to send someone to constantly respond there because that inhib all of a sudden at 16 minutes is dangerously close to being exposed.
Yeah, and these top laners, both of them are not split pushers here. They are both being picked for their ability to team fight. So the longer lane really just means more time for them to leave the lane, push out. It's currently in advantage of Red here, so they can wait out a little bit. Gyeong?
Lands a solar flare out of the back line, and the unstoppable charge going to be used defensively here. Now in goes Jojo, but the return fire is put down. The red carpet is laid down as well. Tick, tick, tick go the health bars, but they trade back kills back and forth. It's a 4v4. Jojo down, Mikau down. The fight is tight, or it's Red Canid's favored here, but Avenger and company do have the range advantage as well.
Here we go.
Now here comes the TP.
Yeah,
we go going to join in the fight immediately here. No ult, maybe no problem, but no flash either. Just going to play defense around this objective. INTZ not going to try anything dumb. Revolta able to leap away. Just going to throw out some spears. Avenger and company looking for a pick, but they're able to secure the Drake. They're up 3-0 on these dragons, but still down 500 gold.
Really solid play from Red, making use of that teleport as well. And that's a bit of the issue we're seeing here, where the damage coming through from INTZ is fairly front loaded. I'm actually surprised Jojo got out of here. Okay, didn't get out. That's why. I was like, wait, Jojo didn't get out, did he? Because that was kind of suicidal. And we're seeing that Jojo is really, really squishy. It did buy them time, though. And I think that was more important. Giving the kill over for that Drake is super important, because now we're looking at Ocean Soul here potentially in about 4.5 minutes. And with Baron on the table as well, that's always going to be a choice that you're going to force INTZ to deal with. Which one are you going to try and protect? We now have the option of taking both of these here, and we can just threaten whichever one we so choose.
Yeah, they got options. I'll put it that way. And they put a lot of onus here onto this fourth Drake as well. So I'm interested to see also just how, well, really, not so much how INTZ kind of play around that, but right now the onus is on Red to, yes, they've got these 3 dragons, but they are down that gold. These top laners just, beating each other over the head with their abilities here. Guigo just so strong, just so massive. Double Nighthearts are coming in, double Gale Force as well for the double AD. A lot of damage here for INTZ, but yeah, I mean, it's I want to look at that bot lane because it's going to be about that setup for the fourth dragon. If you can get that set up really, really nicely, these next 3 minutes are going to be big. So if you put INTZ in a position where they've got to make that kind of decision, then if they choose wrong, you take Ocean Soul and you're able to withstand any sort of siege with Zoe, with Kaisa as well.
And for Red right now, they've got a little bit more margin for error because they have 2 tanks. They have the Rel, they have the Scion here. So they can frontline and take a lot of the bursts. I'm not a huge fan of seeing the double Gale Force come through for Envy and Mikau. I would have liked to see potentially a Kraken Slayer Bowl. Should be fine, I think.
Yeah, I think he's all right. Ooh, Jojo going in, gets the Magnet Storm down. Ooh, the Equalizer, not going to do actually. Ooh, you do just enough. He's going to get the return kill out of Jojo. He's not Envy. Flashing forward. He wants all the smoke. And he wants Avenger burned his flash as well. His actual flash at that.
Oh, both these teams slapping me in the face here. Envy making good use of that Gale Force. I don't like it. I'm gonna continue saying I don't like it because sure, you got the kill, but now but you're gonna have problems shutting through Guigo here, especially if we don't see a Blade of the Ruin King pick up here. And that bot side, they really invested a lot. They forced it. I'm surprised Red does that because they lose so much for it. You don't gain anything from that kill bot side. There's no dragon. There's no pressure top side there. I would have preferred to see rotations. I wanted to see Aegis move towards that mid lane to protect it rather than trying to force that bot side. Really good play from INTZ here. Heads up in multiple lanes. They get that mid lane turret. They get the kill top side. They get the pressure as well. And they buy themselves a bit more time. They have a bit of a gold lead here. And I'm glad to see that they're actually using it.
Yeah. With a good camp lead as well. Aegis does have that, that nice camp lead, but he really hasn't gotten the chance to shine in these fights. Revolta, with the stopwatch, can provide some utility with this kind of all-in, or just some survivability with this kind of all-in team fighting style that they want to play. But my gosh, you saw the power of Envy and what he's able to do with these many repositioning tools. Gale Force, maybe to your point here, it does feel like overkill on a Lucian. That maybe you would want Kraken Slayer into these double tanks. That maybe was maybe what I would have liked to see. But look, at the end of the day, we'll see how it plays out. His team is up 2,000 gold. Revolta able to get away there.
I love it when Revolta plays with so much confidence here. The fact that he literally got pincered between the team and was still chasing Titan was beautiful. What else is beautiful is watching Envy just play the side lanes right now. I said that the top laners weren't split pushers, but Envy certainly can be with this Gale Force. And they can't even catch him. The mobility from that Lucian there makes it so tough. And it is INTZ now on the inside track as this next dragon is going to be spawning in 30 seconds. They've cleared out all the vision here. They're the ones in control.
Yeah, and Revolta was there for a reason in the enemy jungle, doing a little counter jungling, also laying down wards, putting down his traps as well. Jojo took one chunk out of that, and he goes, they're not going to do anything. He just walks right
over. I like watching them trade poke here. Yeah. Have they found Mikau? Able to punish him a little bit, but the lifesteal will be enough to heal them back up, and it's still going to come down to the vision, to this team fight around the dragon.
Guigo and... now in a little bit of trouble here. He gets absolutely deleted. Young goes down. Now there goes the return damage, and that is so much between the equalizer and the culling. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does land there onto Bull. Mikau gonna have to disengage here. Guigo with a head full of steam. Here he comes, not able to get around the corner. Avenger trying to lay down some poke as well. Mikau and Envy still decently healthy. That Drake is up. Titan gonna get some healing there from the Honey Fruit.
Oh,
Max Rage, Sleepy Trouble Bubble falls asleep and
bye-bye.
pop. Was not enough. It was not well timed enough either. Beautiful play there by Avenger. Heals himself back up, and Red get the Ocean Soul.
This is so good. And that's where that margin of error, that tolerance comes in for Red here. They lose Jojo. They don't care. That's a tank. They've all their damage here. Whereas for INTZ, Gyeong dead. That means everybody left behind. If they get tagged by any sort of CC here, becomes super, super hard. I like what Mikau tried to do there, but unfortunately the CP Trouble Bubble is just that slow, and the CC lasts that long. So unfortunately, you will get popped, and that's the power of that Zoe pick, and this is why Dia hates it.
Yeah, it's a tilter. If I was Mikau, I'd be very, very upset. Executioner coming in now for him as he picks up his Essence Reaver. Yeah, just these two AD carries. Just playing the exact same thing here. This game's still very much on a knife's edge. Let's take another look at this fight.
Yeah, so it looked a little bit forced here from Jojo to start things off, but just the killer instinct combined with the collateral damage gives them so much range to engage basically from that wall all the way across. And the moment they took down Gyeong here, they can afford to siege this up. It just becomes a game of poke. Without Revolta, there's not enough poke. Envy, Mikau, and Bolt are all fairly short range, and once that Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, nice try, but not quite enough, and you just can't stick around. You're too squishy.
Yeah, like you said, once they took down Young, it's like, well, how do we engage? You can't, right? They like you said, they've got the benefit due Red of two tanks. And yes, Guigo has to run up at you to make anything happen, and he didn't have his ult, but he still got some range with that Q, and he's still just so beefy. He can play defense that if he takes advantage of even just one slight misposition from the squishy carries of INTZ, his team will more than be able to follow up on it. But Avenger playing around that kind of war of attrition trading poke fight really, really well, because that is where he is going to excel. Now the root landing here onto Guigo, and there's the follow-up to forces a flash out of him, sidesteps the spear, the solar flare in, but Jojo was able to get out of it with the mount up. Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands. Envy cleanses it immediately before it causes too much trouble, and he chews right through a very dead Guigo.
Okay, so they get the kill here 4x4. The question is, what now? We've said this before. They've constantly been able to find Jojo, and Guigo was tanky enough to survive. Now that Guigo is down, they still have the same problem. Jojo is still a tank, can still initiate here. So they can't effectively get any major objectives. They have to play very, very cautiously and respect, the amount of damage. They need another pick. Getting Guigo, getting Joe is not good enough to get a major objective. And now with Ocean Soul being picked up, we kind of glossed over that again. The dragons just keep getting skipped over here. But that is huge for the side of Red, so they can afford to just siege you up at Baron.
No, they absolutely can. That's how they want to play this. Got the Ocean Soul. They can take, these more extended kind of objective setups here. But look at all the healing reduction coming in. Double Oblivion Orb as well from Bull and Revolta. My goodness. Guigo is not going to have a good time at all. That's so tough.
You kind of need it, though. That's Ocean Soul you're playing against. Everybody's basically got super high regen, super healing here. So I like the adaptation from INTZ. I like what they've been doing for most of the game here. And I think that's why they have themselves a lead, despite being down in gold. I like how Gyeong and Jojo had to stare off to, knowing that neither could kill the other. But INTZ just have such a more difficult composition to navigate. We've spoken a lot about Red's tolerance. I want to talk about now how INTZ can try and break that tolerance, how they can win here.
Please.
They're probably not going to win a straight-up fight, honestly. Bull is strong, but this is that Night Harvester Rumble here. So he's trying to damage the backline. It's not that Leandries that we used to see a lot of who can shred down in a fight. So they need to find priority targets. And when they go in, they basically need to make sure they can either find the backline or they shred the front line and re-engage here. They have a lot of burst, but they also have double ADC. They can punish. Look at that. No Kraken Slayer, and Envy still chunks Guigo. So if they can continue poking down like that, it's good.
Sleepy Trouble caught Young. One more killer instinct for Titan, but he gets popped by Envy. Trades it right back. Now Jojo maybe in a little bit of trouble. That's another kill. Big shutdown as well on the first one onto the Kaisa. There goes a Featherstorm. The Blade Caller right back. Couple more autos. Repositioning there with his flash. After all that, just 4 kills. It's a 2-4-2 to result in a 3v3.
That's actually not bad for the side of INTZ here to be able to trade 2v2. We've seen repeatedly what's happened, and that's because they managed to get Titan out of position, not protected by that tanky front line. Now they need to do that again and again. The problem here is that if it's more important to actually get Avenger down than Titan. Titan does more sustained damage, but Avenger's what's making sure that they can't do any major objectives. That CP Trouble Bubble with that Paddle Star right now is just way too scary. So maybe if they get to do that one more time here, this time on Avenger, I think they're good. And more importantly, Gyeong was engaged upon. So Gyeong had to be very reactive there. Gyeong, if they can be more offensive, we've seen has had good effect here. So really feels like who's able to pull the trigger first, who can sort of position themselves a little bit better so far. I do expect things to slowly tilt in Red's way. So INTZ, a bit of a timer. You guys need to start moving now.
30 seconds till Elder.
Ooh.
Baron up as well. Jockeying on this bottom side of the map. Wave in an all right spot here. Might not be able to hit the bot tier 2 tower completely. No, it's just going to freeze right there. So it's jockeying for that mid-wave position. Guigo.
BP.
Everybody in the mid lane. And then an immediate Solar Flare into Equalizer combo. But that's all she wrote. Guigo just sidesteps everything. He's still looking for something. Has his ult available. Envy looking for a backline deletion.
Oh.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble, that's going to land. Mid-leap, Paddle, Star Bull. Steps right in front of it and takes it. Revolta would have been in a bit of trouble if that landed onto him.
Good man.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, this is Elder too, so it takes a little bit longer to chunk through, but Avenger.
And Avenger's just playing defense. Usually it's your tank that's supposed to set up all the stopwatch. He might be in some trouble if they can collapse on it, but Gyeong can't get in there. The Graves with the smoke screen, reducing the possibility of him getting back there. Elder regen some health, but Gyeong goes down. And again, there's a similar position we found ourselves in last time RMC with no Gyeong. What do? They can't start anything.
Oh no, and I want to point out too, Guigo just ate the entirety of the Lucian ultimate there and didn't even look at how healthy he is. That's with the Ocean Drake, the Ocean Soul mostly healing him up. There's no other healing on their team. That's absolutely disgusting. And that's why I said INTZ on a little bit of a timer here. They need to find the right people. Forcing Avenger to go golden, great, but not being able to follow up, not optimal. And then it just feels like this is Red's show to run.
Yeah, exactly. It was like you got him to go golden, and Gyeong is the only one that really could follow up at that awkward angle. And, you know, he blew all his abilities, right? I guess he didn't have Zenith Blade up, but he definitely didn't have Solar Flare up. So it's like, I'm just trying to, like, walk forward, and that feels so bad as Leona, and Graves goes, great, smoke screen, good night.
Yeah, that sounded about right for whatever happened to Ian. He said that every time a CP Trouble Bubble lands, not necessarily the smoke screen sound effect, I guess, but the paddle star sound effect sounds rather appropriate there. And now INTZ, despite the gold lead they had for most of the game, despite being very, very even, they've now lost Baron, they've lost Ocean Soul. It's super, super difficult for them. And so far, we have yet to still see a single good flank onto the backline. And with Guigo becoming the monster he is, without a Blade of the Ruin King in sight, without a Kraken Slayer in sight here, or even a Leandris from anybody, I'm looking at them to find a flank. Because that's, I think, the only way you win this is you kill Avenger, you kill Titan, and then you try and win the fight from there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You need a flank, you need a pick, you need to burst someone down, which, again, if they can find it, INTZ absolutely have the ability to do so. But finding it is really, really hard for them, especially if everything, all the onus to help facilitate that is on Gyeong. And especially if the questions on the map are being asked by Red now with this Baron buff.
Yeah.
They've got Baron buff so they could just go to whatever wave they want and just ruin INTZ's day. And with the Elder buff, they're not going to want to take a fight.
And this is such odd lane assignments. Where is INTZ? Why is there only the bot lane of Mikau and Gyeong trying to defend this bot side? Look how quickly it goes down to a Baron buff team. They just opened up their front door for free here to Red. Kind of just welcomed them in. They even had two greeters there to say, hi, come right on in. And now that mid lane inner turret, that's great. Envy and Revolta need to run.
Yep, there goes Titan in immediately. Get the attractive repel. Revolta going golden. Guigo right into the back line. He doesn't care about your League of Legends. He will just sit there and face tag everything. And, well, I mean, even eventually.
Guigo doesn't die.
There goes the equalizer as well. Guigo able to sidestep that. Mother of Pearl. How?
Oh, that feels... It's so bad because you didn't kill Guigo. And, Mikau?
Oh,
we've seen this before. Oh, rip that. Mikau. Poor dude. 3, 4, and 4. anytime that Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands, he's dead. I think at this point, you pay that QSS tax here. Either that, or you know what? It's a little bit too late. They're going to pay the win tax.
Yeah. Avenger, my gosh, just so oppressive with these. We talked about how ITZ want to find some picks. How about Avenger? Just finding pick after pick, getting mid-Featherstorm, Sleepy Trouble Bubbles onto Macau. The war of attrition is won. Red Canids move INTZ down to 4-7, 9-2 for Red. Firmly in grasp of second place RMC as they pad the stats here just a little bit. But it's only a matter of time before the Nexus does go down. If there's anyone to face tank a laser right now, it's Guigo.
I don't know why Titan's sandbagging here, dropping his KDA for no reason, but you know what? It works. And this